Welcome back to Azark. Today we have a very special guest with us, Trent from Riot Comedy. He does great Flash animation, I believe, but we'll find out for sure. Animation on the internet, on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, you name it, he posts it there. And we also got Britt with us. Follow on Instagram, cha.cha.cherry. Gosh.
Why don't you know my name?
Cha-cha, because that's what everyone calls her. But now we are here, and we're here to discuss some funny stuff and also serious stuff too. Welcome, Trent.
Hey, thank you guys so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, Brittany threw you on my radar. She's like, "Oh my gosh, look at what Trent's doing. This is awesome, right?" Comedy. I'm like, "What is this?" I'm not into basketball anymore, but I understand all the basketball references though. And I was really enjoying it. And I'm a big fan of Magic Johnson, which you did a lot of Magic Johnson.
The best character in the show. The best character in the show,
So,
hands down. He's our Bugs Bunny. You know what I mean? He's our kooky character that we can do like anything with him and get away with it because he's like our over the top. You know, any plan is okay with him. Like he's done the most outrageous stuff in the show, and he's always got plans to, you know, make
so
wild
maybe
stuff
more
happen.
like Daffy Duck.
Yeah,
because Bugs Bunny
yeah.
never incites violence. Someone always incites violence on Bugs Bunny, and that's why everyone loves him, right? Because he's never the one that incites the violence or the action. And that's like,
this is true. And Bugs Bunny's more
Magic
calculated
seems
in
to
his
incite a lot of violence.
He doesn't like his hands dirty.
He loves it. He loves
Especially
it.
when he
That's one of
flies
his
over to
favorite
China.
things.
Go check out the stuff. I'm not going to spoil it here, but go
Oh
check
my
it
God,
out.
that's one of my favorite. That's one of the best things of the NBA show we did was whenever Magic Johnson and Adam Silver go to China. It's so funny. You got to watch it. But if you liked that, you got to watch the show we're doing right now. It's called With All Due Respect. And what we did with the NBA, we're doing that with everything. Politics, pop culture, news, all media.
So excited.
So we have three
Yeah.
episodes out.
That's right.
Yeah, we have three episodes
you have
out.
one, Joe Biden and Putin. They're on a call.
They're
Well,
negotiating
it's
the
one of
release
many
of
calls
China.
that he called Putin on. Obviously, we'll find out when you go there. Yes, yeah, I saw that one, and then we had Kanye West one. Yes,
Kanye,
all of his designer stuff with holes in it. That's all I'm gonna say. Go check it out. And then
then we have the church.
Pope. Oh, you can spend
Pope.
Yes, the
Pope
Pope and
you can
and,
spend
Pope and
all
Trudeau.
day
Canadian
with
yes.
that. I'm just
Yes.
surprised Trudeau. No, I don't even want to get into politics. I know there's a photo of him going around from a party. That's not my job. I am not a comedian, but yes. We're here to interview Trent and Brittany, do you want to ask
Get
the
some
first
background.
question?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Thank you. I just like hearing you guys talk. I'm so excited that you guys are becoming friends. I've been waiting for this for a couple years, I think, just to like have you guys meet. But speaking of Riot, and just give us some background on why does this exist? Why do we have Riot Comedy?
We have Riot Comedy because my brothers and I love making cartoons. We love being creative. We also wanted to do something that was something that we loved that could also, you know, provide a good lifestyle at the same time. And we're not there yet. We're not like living the life, like we're not living large, but we're working towards it. You know what I mean? And it's something that, you know, we're pushing towards. But it's also, you know, about really being creative. And we love, you know, raw comedy. We love that unapologetic, that in your face, but also clever. You know, we don't do like shock value comedy. We don't do things. I mean, we do things that are like kind of shocking, but it's never like, oh, they did that just because it's shocking. It's like everything we do fits into who the characters are that, you know, we create or, you know, whatever it may be. And it's always, you know, it's always clever. If we're doing something extreme, it's always clever or, you know, playing on something that's already true and amplifying it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. By the way, him and his brothers all look alike. Let me just throw that out there.
There's one of us.
They're truly brothers.
There's one of us that has a
Don't you dare say it.
full head of blonde hair.
Stop it. When last time I saw him, he said that he looked like me.
So,
but I don't think that's true.
your background's not in animation.
Correct. I have a degree in journalism.
Which is good though, because that means
Have a
you
degree?
had to pursue animation.
Yes.
And just tell us why you picked animation compared to doing maybe stand up or like a movie or a TV show or stuff like that.
A TV show was something I actually thought about doing, but we didn't have the resources to make a TV show happen. We didn't have the space, we didn't have the cameras, we didn't have, if you want to make a TV show happen, it doesn't take too much, honestly, if you really, really know what you're doing. And I guess you can always, just kind of film everything and edit the sound good enough and film it in your house. But still, it was easier for us to do. I got to mute you because there's a.
Yeah, but you were saying how you guys didn't have the resources, and even when I met you, you were a bartender.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you guys were still have your normal jobs while creating this.
Yeah. So it was always like this growing process, and even still, like we still do other things. Like my brother actually, he animates for Pocket Watch. Or no, sorry, he doesn't animate. He's a production manager for Pocket Watch Animation. They produce kids cartoons. And then I have Cornmeal Coffee. It's made from Daisy.
awesome.
It's coffee alternative. Yeah. But then the cartoons is something, we're also trying to pitch shows to networks right now. So we have been pitching shows. We have a handful, we actually have like a full catalog of shows. And we actually were able to, and when I say we, I mean my brother Dylan was able to build relationships with like everyone at all the networks just from like originally cold emailing people. But it was also like not a cold email that was,
A shot in the dark.
yeah. Hey, can we have a meeting with you? It was, hey, kind of what are you guys looking for? This is what we're trying to do. What advice would you give us? Things like that, general, kind of feel out, get to know, don't really ask for anything or maybe just, besides look at what I have, and so we're always pitching shows, but we're still doing independent shows too. That's why we have, we just launched, like I said, With All Due Respect. We have another show coming. We're probably going to start releasing it in a couple months. I can't say what it is
where
yet.
can people follow you so they can get the update once it's released?
Instagram usually has everything first because that's where our biggest audience is. If you want to watch the episodes, YouTube is the easiest, so you don't have to sort through random memes.
So basically, you can hit
stuff
one
like
of their
that.
playlists. That's what I did. I just had a playlist playing for your stuff.
Yeah,
and I was
exactly.
just like able to watch. And YouTube's probably the best for the viewing experience because it looks like you guys also animate it 16 by 9. So you guys are doing the full frame and not vertical for social media platforms. It's very traditional film, like the way it's shot.
Exactly. We cut it vertical for like TikTok and also Instagram Reels and stuff. It's easy to cut because it's usually one person talking at a time. Easy cut back and forth. But yeah, everything is shot widescreen because most of our shows, especially the show we're dropping next, is really like you're gonna get a show that's like made for TV, except you're gonna short form, and it's gonna be really, really good. And it's gonna be a little bit controversial, and it's gonna be top-notch
works
comedy.
though. I always love South Park's story, right? So they always push the limits.
Speaking
They
of
always push the
inspiration.
limits. And what they would do too is they would pitch the craziest show. They're like, we're going to kill like 20 people and then there's going to be this and this and they're going to cuss this many times. They're like, whoa, you can't do that. They're like, well, what if we kill 10 people? They're like, that sounds better. And then like, what if we do it's like you push the limit and you bring it back just enough and they're like, okay, it's a go, And then it's like you always gotta like push the limits. So South Park is known for pushing it way out there. They come back a little bit and they find a middle spot, and that's where they were hoping to land, kind of thing. But they throw something so outrageous out there.
Yeah.
And obviously they're the pioneers when it comes to this type of humor and stuff. When it comes to that, so they're super talented. I love their way of storytelling. They're brilliant. They're so brilliant.
Same. They're the biggest reason I do what I do. Like they were my favorite show of all time. Like you'll never convince me that another show is better than South Park. When South Park was in its heyday, like it was really good from seasons like 4 to 14ish, somewhere around there. Like you'll never convince me another show is better than that show. Like on an episodic show. I mean, if you want to talk about like shows that are serial, that are more well written, that you got to watch it all season long.
Tough.
I'm not gonna fight you over it, but an episodic show, nothing is better than South Park. If you're a South Park fan, like
it's tough to beat.
No one ever wrote a 22-minute episode of something as good as Scott Tenorman Must Die.
Scott Tenorman Must Die.
They haven't. You can't write TV.
And it's amazing too because they write it all within a week. That's what makes it even more incredible too. They start writing Wednesday. Animators sleep at the office. Once they're done writing, they pass it off to the animators, and then it airs that following Wednesday. It's crazy. I turned down a job there to go work for Futurama because I heard about the work hours.
Oh, man.
which is still
That
a
was
great
so
show though.
sad.
Futurama, don't be hating.
Futurama's awesome. I love Futurama. Futurama also very well written
Scientists
show.
write that
Futurama's
show. They're
great.
smart.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Anyways,
Yeah, you were very excited when I mentioned that. Do you have any other inspirations in those two shows?
I mean,
like, who would you say, like, overall
I
arcing?
have to take a guess.
Yeah,
Simpsons is
definitely.
probably up there, right? The Simpsons. Okay.
I'll say yes because Simpsons really got me into cartoons. I remember like it was family tradition, you know. So I'm born in 1990, right? So when I'm like, I remember being 3-4 years old, and my dad being like, Simpsons are getting on the couch, and we'd all run in and watch the Simpsons get on the couch because it was different every week, right?
Mhm.
And then we'd watch the Simpsons together. But then, you know, South Park came out when I was like
best.
7 years old, and I was like, the Simpsons.
Yeah.
That's for kids. I watch
Yeah,
South Park now.
definitely. I understand that vibe. Yeah,
It
I
was
was
over
learning
after that.
things I never learned from human beings before. I was like educated by South Park.
I
Totally.
had 2 older brothers, so South Park was nothing shocking to me. I knew all these things already. I was the kid in class who like no one else had 2 older brothers. I had like one friend who had 1 older brother. So I came to school knowing everything way before everyone else. I was like, some people probably thought I was like a bad influence because I came to school knowing all this stuff. They're like, all the kids. I'm like in like 2nd grade, and all the I'm dropping like 7th grade, 6th grade stuff. On kids.
You're like singing songs from like bigger, louder, uncut South Park movie. Have you met Cal's
exactly.
mom? You're like singing the song in the hallway, and you're like, everyone's like, what the heck?
The thing is, I was too afraid of my mom to ever behave like that. My mom, she would have roughed me up if I would have ever been misbehaving like that.
Awesome. So I'm just curious now, like your process with programs. Like, what do you use to create the show? Because I know, like, South Park started off as cutouts, and they took a picture. It was basically stop motion, and it was Santa versus Jesus, where they were fighting over Christmas. That was like their pilot pitch, right? And they did that all stop motion cutout.
Yeah.
And then after the first episode, after doing that, they're like, we can't do this, so they did everything in Maya, which is actually a 3D program, and it's shot from the side and it's flat, right? So like even though they had some money behind them still, but they make it look like it's original, where it's like flat and stuff. But I'm curious what you use.
We use Toon Boom.
That's the first program I learned on.
I always thought it was like so. I always thought it was like so much. I was like, why do these South Park animators use Maya for something that's so simple? I was like, you can even though they use real looking fire in the episodes now. Why don't you just do that in After Effects? Like, I feel like, I don't know. I don't know how to use Maya, so maybe
much
it's faster
easier
if
if
you know how to
use
use
Maya.
it.
Yeah.
Really, it seems like, because I've tried to 3D animate Maya, and I'm like, I don't need to know how to do this. I'll just one day animate if I want to do something.
If you know what you're
3D.
doing, it's a much faster turnaround time than trying to do everything in Flash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see. We don't use Flash. I don't really know how to use Flash either.
Toon
It
Boom,
would always seem like something. It's a lot faster than Toon Boom. That's interesting. Maybe I should
Maya?
know how to use
Yeah,
it.
I mean, if you're doing basic shapes and stuff like they are, it definitely could really help speed up the process.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've seen like my shows like Real Baller and stuff, Real Ballers and whatnot. So
if
you probably know better than me if you actually use Maya.
well, it
before.
looks like you have basic shapes for the arms and hinges and stuff, and you rotate and you pin it when you move the arms, and then you have a variety of different mouth shapes that you use over and over again, and then the eyeballs are probably on a separate layer. No, they're probably attached to the head, so when the head moves, the eyeballs move with it, but then you can move the eyes separately on a separate layer, right? Is that probably how you do it? Yep, that's how I would do it if I didn't have access to Maya. So when I was in school, the first program I did 2D animation on was Toon Boom, and I loved it. And
I like
and
it.
then
I think
their
it's great.
storyboard feature is great too. The way you can implement storyboards and then put it into this frame. Huge fan.
We don't storyboard.
Well,
We don't storyboard.
Not yet.
We cut that whole process out.
You might once
Yeah,
once the story gets more complicated, you
definitely,
will. Right now,
exactly.
it's like
big stories, storyboard. Short stories, because right now most of our content, fits into the minute and a half that you're allotted for.
You have like
whatever
2
it
or
is on
3
social
basic
media now,
cuts.
so.
You know what I mean? And you're just kind of jumping through those things, which is
exactly.
perfect for timing and the comedy to get the joke across. But obviously, if you're going to do something a little bit more advanced, You might want a storyboard. That's just a process. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. But for the minute and a half, like
No.
we don't really need to for this because we write it
At the
and
same
we
time.
animate it
Roughly, or
not
okay.
at the
So
same time. But we since
just
we
with
do
a
every
small crew.
oh yeah small crew, so we know how we want it to look. So we write it, we do the animation, we do the voices. So we know how we want everything to be. So it's not like, yeah, if you want someone to animate like a 22-minute episode or a team of people to do that, they need to not have to think about how it should be directed and what should happen with the timing and all this and that. So we can figure all that out as we're going. And it's easy for us because so we write it and then we do the voiceovers. After we do the voiceovers, we edit the audio and line up all the, line it up in the software, time it out right, export that as one file, bring that into the software, animate around it.
I want to know, whose voice do you do? I was trying to guess. Me and Chris were trying to figure out. He's like, whose voice? I was like, I can't tell. So can you tell me?
I do almost all of them.
I'm like, I can hear a little bit of Magic Johnson.
I do almost all of them. I do. So on like the NBA show, especially because like we do that show really fast, quick turnaround time. So I do Magic, I do LeBron, I do literally almost every character. But this new show that we're doing, I haven't done every character, and it's funny because like the first episode with Joe Biden and Vladimir Putin, I did Vladimir Putin's voice, but we had Savvy Amusing do Joe Biden's voice. And if you don't know who Savvy Amusing is, he does. He takes like NBA clips and does like voiceovers. He cuts out the audio and does his own voiceover dubs over the lips.
It's like those lip dubs, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. So he does that, but he's pretty funny at it, and he's hilarious as Joe Biden. He's like super duper funny, and we're probably gonna have him beat Joe Biden some more because it's really funny.
Yeah, it's fun when you could exaggerate different personalities and characteristics of people like that too. And then when it's in animation, you can really go all out too with your voices and stuff. And what you kind of need to do, because since it's limited animation, the audio and the jokes need to outperform what they're seeing visually, right? Because the mediums there, which will help get the joke across and stuff. It's just like Family Guy. Family Guy is very limited animation stuff, but the writing and the timing and the comics is what makes the show. It's not the amazing like lip movement, when the character stands there.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. And you were like asking about, other inspirations. Obviously South Park is the biggest one, but we love, and I'm a huge fan of Curb Your Enthusiasm and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Those shows that are like probably nonstop,
right
trash
after
talking.
South Park is number 2. It's Always Sunny, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's up there for me. I don't know if I don't know if I've ever thought about like even my second and third and fourth favorite shows. I know South Park is number 1, but like.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you guys pay attention to what's going on, or do you just hear something? Like, do you go looking? Because now it's not about the NBA, and like, so it's a little bit more culturally. You're giving a different perspective on the culture. Do you kind of just hear about something, or do you go looking? Like, where does that process begin for you?
We go looking a lot of the time. Twitter is usually a good place. If you see something big happening, then you just start throwing out ideas.
Obviously, you don't have to look for Kanye. Like, Kanye was just bam in your face.
Yeah, he signs up. So, and honestly, like, I love Kanye. You already know, like, I'm Kanye. I'm one of his biggest fans. Like, I love Kanye West. Not crazy about like his trash bag clothes, but
which is fine.
This generation's he's the Beatles of the modern era to me. Like he's
I
guess he's more dude. Elvis, right? Because the Beatles was a group.
Indeed. Well,
because what I mean, because like Elvis was all by himself, right? Like a Frank Sinatra, or.
Well, I'll say this though, because it seems like Elvis kind of stole a lot of his style from other people, and the Beatles seemed more original. And I think
I was going to say Mozart.
That's really going far back.
Because Mozart was the one that changed the beats, and so Kanye, like he changed the way that rapping was. I mean, did you watch his documentary?
Yeah.
On Netflix, it's like dang, but nobody accepted that.
He also changed music in general, because after like My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy came out, everyone started to like incorporate that type of sound into their albums somewhere, like
Mhm.
pop music and rappers alike. So I haven't
That's
seen anyone.
exactly what happened with Mozart too.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen anyone change music as much as Kanye West has.
Right. Let's just hope he just doesn't die like
Wow.
Mozart.
Why would you even throw that out there? Poor guy.
Because I'm dark. No, you know what I mean? Because
Don't
like
throw
great
that out
minds.
there. Bring it back.
No.
We got to cut that. We can't let that out on the interwebs.
cut it out of here. Yeah, cut it out. Delete it forever. Can't be
Gosh.
floating out there in the abyss. Like,
So what advice would you give people if they wanted to do this, or if they want to use the medium of animation to tell their story or their jokes?
if you want to, have your story animated, you have to learn how to do it yourself. I would say, unless you have money to pay for it, because animation is really expensive. That was why we taught ourselves how to do it. I mean, you're talking about paying a couple $1,000s a minute if you want it done in the
Mhm.
United States, and if you want it done overseas, you are paying less. But we've done overseas work, and sometimes there's a language barrier if you don't like make everything like very, very, very clear. Which you can get it done, but sometimes it's not exactly
Mhm.
what you're looking for. But yeah, be resourceful. Like when we started, we didn't really know how to do anything. We taught ourselves how to animate. We didn't go to school for it. We literally had a Best Buy credit card and maxed it out buying computers, bootlegged some software, and started making cartoons on
That's
YouTube.
awesome.
And that was how we started. We just figured it out. And then that cartoon on YouTube we turned that cartoon on YouTube into a web series with Comedy Central that we did with
That's
them for a
awesome.
couple years. And then we had to buy real software because it was like, okay, they're paying us enough to buy
Yeah.
the software, and we probably shouldn't make this Comedy Central show with bootleg software
No,
just in case.
it's so funny you
just
say that. That happens. I was at a studio. We were using a program called Nuke,
Mhm.
and we were compositing for, I think it was Conan the Barbarian remake with Jason Momoa and Transformers 3. But we were using a software called Nuke, and there was at least like 30 people that worked there at the studio, and then all of a sudden we won some kind of like award or something like that for Nuke, and they were
Nice.
like advertising us, and the Nuke was like, wait a minute, we don't have any licenses from this guy. This guy bootlegged
Hilarious.
everyone's computer license. We had no idea because we're just employees, and then we
Hilarious.
got like shut down, and it was like, what the heck? We come in the next day, everything's like shut down and
Amazing.
closed. Like, I guess I gotta find a new studio to work at because this guy's been bootlegging.
That's pretty funny.
So yes, if you guys can, most definitely get the software, because
If you're just making it on YouTube and you can't afford
Yeah.
it, you got to do what you got to do. But definitely
you're
buy
able
it because
to,
people
yes,
work hard to
yes.
build that, and it's worth every penny.
Yeah. When I do believe in the whole ratatouille theory that food comes to those who love to cook. So if you want to do something, your tools will come to you
Yeah.
if you
for
want
sure.
it.
Sure, for sure. And we made them come to us. Like I said, we didn't want to do the Comedy Central thing with bootleg stuff, but they paid us to do it. We're making cartoons on YouTube for
Yeah.
free, so it was just like, no harm, no foul. But once you actually start making money, you should probably make sure things are semi-legit at least. Oh,
What
and
is
also,
go ahead.
I wanted to say one other thing about being resourceful. Like we recorded everything on
That's
iPhones, and just like my brother is good at editing audio,
Amazing.
just iPhone and pop filter. We have portable booths, portable audio booths, but yeah, I mean we don't have like
Yeah.
super expensive microphones. We have like later updated versions like of iPhones that have decent microphones on them, so it works if you can
Yeah.
edit. Yeah, be resourceful. That's gonna take you like
Yeah,
so
and if you want to get
far.
clean audio, go sit in your closet with all the clothes.
We used to do that, real talk. We used to do
Because
that,
the
yeah.
sound, the
Dude,
sound won't
we
bounce
used-
around. It's going to be absorbed into all the clothes. It's a perfect little studio box.
It's perfect. When we were making cartoons on YouTube, we used to build booths
Yep.
out of pillows
Yep.
in a chair and just like squat down and like put a cover over
Got
our
it.
head and over the thing. Like that was how we recorded our
Yep.
first stuff on YouTube. Like you can find
Yep.
ways to get stuff done. You don't have to
Yep,
spend
it's
all
true.
this money to do all this whenever you're first getting
Totally
started,
true.
especially, if
Yeah.
you can figure out how
All
to
of
make it
my
sound
sound
good.
panels I have are used tells from Goodwill that are layered and stacked in a
Yeah.
frame.
Whatever you can do, you don't have to. You don't have to like be all
No, you don't.
bougie whenever you're
You just
trying
gotta
to make it
PFI
No,
it.
you do not.
Yeah, you just make it look good. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Make it look good for the camera. Like that. That's how everything is in Hollywood. Like I've been on a decent amount of sets, and it's like
Duct tape.
you'd be surprised how much stuff like looks so good on camera, but it's like, yeah, everything's held together by duct tape and like
Glue.
everything is cardboard, glue, and duct tape.
It is not
Like,
meant to
real talk, like,
last. It is not meant to last.
big bad wolf blow everything over. Like everything, the whole set would be destroyed.
Was
With
that
one
a
puff.
union gig? Because I don't feel like that happens on union jobs. I think that you'd get in trouble.
I'm not saying like the
I'm kidding.
like the walls and everything, but still, like everything is like fake fancy. Like they're really good at making at being resourceful. Like
Jimmy
the set
raking.
designers are good at making this look really good for whatever budget they're given. Like these people. I mean, they're professionals. They're paid to make it look as real as possible, as cheap as possible. And they're great at it.
Yeah, it's all about
They're
just getting it done, right? Yeah, they just have to get the shot done. And I think there was something too where they had like a robotic creature, and it was supposed to talk, and it was like glitching, and it wasn't working. And then the guy was like, "Hold on, just give me five minutes." He went to go get like a fish wire and stuff, and he was literally like, he threw it up over a bar, and he was flapping the mouth, and that's the shot that was used in the movie. And he figured it out. Like they spent like thousands of dollars trying to build this rig, but at the end of the day, it was just like a rope and string and a guy pulling it. You know what I mean? So it's just whatever you got to do to get it done. That's what it is basically on set.
No doubt. Where there's a will, there's a way. As corny and cliche as you want to say that
right?
is, you can make it happen.
So what's going to happen next for
before
Riot?
you answer that question, I just want to say your credit card story reminds me a lot of Walt Disney. Because Walt Disney, he went in debt like 3 times, right? The first time he sold everything to move to California, and then everything's going good with his business. Like he had I think a card business, and then he had to sell his car and all of his possessions to get the studio equipment to make animation. And then he had to sell everything else again to get the audio to do talking animation and color. And like he had to always sell everything to gamble on something, and it always paid off for the guy, which is just like, I mean, now I don't know if I agree with everything he does with his life and everything, but his persistence to have his dream done was just awesome. And I just hearing that, how you just like went all out with the credit card, and it's so funny because like people are like, that can't happen to me, or it can't. It's like, you can do it as long as you have the motivation and the passion to get it done. You will see it through, and that's awesome. That's such a great story.
Consistent. You got to be consistent. That's the whole thing, and it's very difficult. But that's the whole thing. It's all mental. It's like hard to do the same thing every day, especially a lot of times when you're not seeing like, you'll go months without seeing like something significant change. We were doing this show for months with Comedy Central. I mean, before Comedy Central, before anything happened. I mean, it was cool. Like we were growing a little bit, but it was like, you'll see like periods of high growth and then like periods of hardly any growth, and it's like it's up and down, and it's the down moments are really down and the high moments are really high. But it's like that's part of the journey, and then you be consistent and good things happen. So, but that's the key, and it's hard to do. But
even the Paul Mitchell logo, like he was in his car homeless, and that's why we have the Paul Mitchell logo, because it was the simplest thing that he could pay for printing. And so like, but that ended up being such an iconic logo, even though that was like all he had, and he was living in his car homeless.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's funny how things work out sometimes.
Living the dream.
I also came to LA prepared for that, though. I came to LA like to make cartoons. I was like, I don't care if it takes till I'm 80. Like I'm gonna die out here chasing my dream if I don't make it. Like I'm like I'll chase it till I die. Like however long it takes, awesome. I don't care. I came out here with that kind of mentality.
I could talk for days about Trent on that. Like the moment I met him, just like right when I met him, I was like, oh, what do you do? You're not normal.
It was like no matter what, like I said, if you stay consistent, and there's been moments of inconsistency for sure along the journey, they happen because I'm human, but I was like, if I just keep doing it, eventually it's going to happen. It has to. That's how the universe works. It doesn't matter what you want to say. Like,
and then
that's how it works. If I believe it hard enough and work for it.
The thing I always say is done is better than perfect. I really believe in that. Just get it done. Like you can spend all day polishing a turd and it's still a turd, but like but
thinking about it.
I'm not saying, but it's just like it's one of those things. I'm not saying our art's a turd or your art's a turd, but it's just one of those things. Like once it's done, because it's never going to be perfect. Like look at George Lucas. George Lucas, we thought the first Star Wars was perfect. Not to him. He went back and changed it. I don't know how many times, and it's still not perfect in his eyes. So it's just like, it's done. Next thing.
It's still not perfect.
I agree with everything you said, and I think as artists, kind of depending on what you're doing, not for your first like Star Wars movie, not your first movie like that, but your first movie, your first podcast episode, your first cartoon you make should kind of be a turd. Like, have you ever seen Joe Rogan's the first episode of his podcast?
No.
I've watched it before.
It's cringe,
so
right?
bad. It's terrible. It's that's being as nice as you can about it. But you know what? He was consistent and kept making it, and now look at him. He's got how $200 million Spotify deal, 150 million, whatever. Like, and he's worth every penny because he has a great podcast.
He built it,
and it's thought provoking. Yeah, exactly. He stayed consistent. But yeah, episode 1.
Yeah.
Terrible. Episode 1 of the first cartoon we made on YouTube. It's called The Lounge.
Yeah.
Episode 1 is terrible. The animation's bad. The backgrounds are terrible. The story doesn't even make any sense.
Do not watch my first video on YouTube.
Feel free to go watch mine. I don't care. But make sure you watch the new stuff too. Watch the new stuff too. Don't judge me by episode 1. If you watch episode 1 of The Lounge, you have to watch new stuff also.
It's not the end. It's the journey. We're all about seeing the journey and how to get there too. Like, even when it comes to artwork, my favorite artwork is the rough sketches. It's the process.
Yeah, I agree. They're great. Don't be afraid to put out bad stuff. Like, be eager to put out bad stuff. Your audience will help tell you,
that's true,
what's bad about it, and sometimes that's good. And they're not always mean about it. If it's your audience that wants to see you grow, and because like we got a lot of that, messages and stuff being like, oh, this, is whatever. Sometimes they're offended at nonsense, but sometimes, and it's not usually that they're offended. It's like,
and not everyone has to agree with you too.
and sometimes things like that, sometimes it's simple, I don't get it, will help you clarify your writing, and you'll be like, oh, well, maybe I'm not writing it clear enough, maybe this doesn't actually make that much sense, and things like that. So it can actually help you get better, and it's better to, like you said, done is better than perfect. You'll get perfect along the way.
That's true.
Maybe not, but you'll get better along the way anyway. Absolutely.
I don't know if anything will ever be perfect, but you will get close for sure.
Yeah.
But no one will ever know what your other expectations were for that animation or short too. People are only going to know what you put out. You may always see, like, even with the movies I worked on, I can see my mistakes in every shot I worked on in any movie or TV show or whatever. I know, I had to still send it in, and it got approved. I know it's there. People will never know. Like, I might not put this in because I don't want to get in trouble, but I just thought it would be funny to tell you guys when I worked on, I inserted a photo of myself in the background.
I love
I could.
stories
It's
like
all
that.
it's all
Those are the
blurry.
coolest.
It's behind in his house.
That's what makes you believe in all these animations, though, or even like on stuff like they always sneak in stuff. How they talk about like they're gonna dig in here on the Disney thing. Like, dude, have you met an animator? Like, they're not.
No.
They're very
it's not
interesting
just an
people.
animator. It's an animator working at Disney. That's a big difference, sir. They don't like their job 100% most of the time, but
that's why they call it the Empire.
I don't want to. I don't know. I don't want to ever get blacklisted.
Just bleep out the movie.
So if it's still in there, you would hear bleeps. Okay.
I put a beep of a beep in the
or
movie.
I'll do SpongeBob. It's like a dolphin sound, right?
There you go.
So Trent, now just let us know where they can find your amazing products, or not even products, your shows, your Instagrams, everything.
Yeah. Go check our content out. The newest show, With All Due Respect, we make fun of everybody and everything. It's kind of like if Saturday Night Live met South Park, and it was making fun of everything, and everybody gets made fun of, and we do it brutally, and we don't hold back, and we kind of give everyone what they deserve, with all due respect. But yeah, Riot Comedy, youtube.com/Riot Comedy is the easiest place to watch everything. Instagram, Riot Comedy is the best place to keep up with news and what's going on. And then any other place you want to just watch bits of our content, TikTok, whatever you like to use, it's there too. Facebook, all that. But yeah, YouTube's the easiest place to watch it. It's good stuff.
Guys, go follow him, check him out. Let him know if you come from Azart too. That would be amazing. Just let them know Azart sent you. And then also, this just reminds me so much of the interview we did with the storyboard artist for Raised by Wolves. Josh, I'd go check out that
Mhm.
video. It's so cool because he talks about how he
For sure.
storyboards with the great Ridley Scott and his son for the show, and I mean, Ridley Scott's such an amazing storyboard board artist in himself. So he just talks about his first time being on set, all that good stuff. But go check out that video. It's another awesome video with an insider. Thank you guys so much for watching. Go follow cha.cha.cherry on Instagram and go to Riot Comedy for all the different links. And if you go to azar.space, you can find all of our audio and video links to our podcast and all of our TikTok, everything, you name it. We're trying to post everywhere too. And we're also doing some cool shirts. Go check it out, and we'll see you on the next Azar.